The Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, sponsored by the Lockdown Defense Sports Network, is our weekly show dedicated to elite advice in standard leagues, PPR, and dynasty leagues. We are not guaranteeing you will win anything by our advice, but if you do, we want our cut. Enjoy the show. Are you tired of losing at fantasy football? Well, have a seat. You come to the right place. You're now tuned into the show where champions are made, where speed meets strategy, elite advice, rapid fire analysis, and winning lineups are provided. It all happens faster than Tyreek Hill's 40 time. So strap in. Let's dominate your draft, crush your matchups, and take a ride all the way to that fantasy goal right here on the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. Let's go. Yes, indeed. To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, our weekly live show where we're champions are made, where we crown champions here weekly, daily. You know, you name it, we're going to do it. So it is here. We are live. We are direct. We're here for season 3. I'm your host, Coach Defense, alongside the real AG, Alex Givens. Good sir. Out there. What's going on out there? What's good in the world of fantasy football?
It's finally here, Coach. No more preseason hype. Draft preview, draft prep. We're in it now. We're in the trenches. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, yes, we are going to get you ready for the fantasy football season. It is upon us. The NFL season starts on Thursday. So we're going to get you ready for week 1, get you prepped, get you primed. We're going to get you all the advice we can give you to get ready and put your maximum effort into your week 1 lineup. So let's jump right into it, man. So first and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to our participants in the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Leagues. We have 2 now. We have a Dynasty League and our regular league. So as we're going to do ceremoniously each and every beginning of the show, opening of the show, we're going to preview what's going on in our fantasy football matchup. So starting off with, I guess you can say the league itself, the weekly league, right? Yep. So we will give weekly recaps. We talk about who's dominating, who's struggling, give all our recaps and all our things we want to break down for those particular leagues. So as we prefaced last season, and we're going to continue this season, the Lightning Fast Fantasy League. Our draft was what was it? Saturday. We had our draft Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday at noon or 11, depending on your time zone.
Right. So yeah, depending on your time zone. Yeah, so people that on the West Coast, they had an issue.
I was like, Robert was drafted at like 9 a.m. That's funny as hell.
He was.
That explains some of the picks. No, I'm kidding.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure he has something to say about that. But yes, right? Indeed. Yeah, a little bit of shots by a little shot. Yes,
had to get a jab in there. Come on.
Right. So ironically enough, in this league, Robert and I had back-to-back picks. I had 1, he had 2. So we were trading off, passing off charges to each other, seemed like, for a minute. But so it was good. It was a good draft. As you can see it on the board, kind of rate what we did. We posted on our social medias and things of that nature. So check that out. Give us your feedback on who you think is smoking, who you think is going to have a good season, who you think is not. Maybe just give us a what the hell was he thinking pick. Let us know it all in the comments, man.
We should preface, there were a few auto picks in there for a while too.
Yeah, so. a little bit. Some, we'll
got wah that one,
Yeah, really.
It's a big wah on the league.
Some people having technical difficulties with the app, but it's all good.
Hey,
good. It's all good. So yeah, I actually ended up drafting him a pretty good team with it being on auto, but it is what it is.
I love that he took when Kurt took the defense, and I said, and it auto to defense. He said, no, that was him. I was like, damn, all right, hey.
Yeah.
Now it's a party.
Right. Now we're back to normal status quo, right?
Yeah.
Back to status quo. Yes, indeed. So yeah, this was our draft. Like I said, we had a pretty good draft. Ran really smoothly. I think we did about a little bit over an hour. So it was good stuff. So we'll see how things flow there. So moving on to our Dynasty League. Now this is a doozy.
This is a doozy now, yeah.
29 rounds, I think we did. We did 29 rounds.
Literally, yeah. I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, bro, every day I open this and I look at the available free agents, and I'm like, we drafted the whole league.
We did.
There's nobody. It's like Saubert out there, and some of you may be like, who? Exactly.
Right,
exactly. Yeah, it was a lot. It was like 30 rounds, but hey. We're building the championship franchise in this mode, you know. So
That's for sure. That's my show. So this is my first run at Dynasty. So this ought to be interesting. Like you said, I'm sure I'd have made some different decisions knowing now what I know versus back in the early summer part when we drafted this. But it is what it is.
yeah, who the Yahoo took Travis Hunter, dude? Wow.
Yes. Yeah, in the second round.
Yeah.
Right.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But listen, he is listed as a wide receiver 2 on the team and cornerback 2. So he might get a little more looks in offense right now. So we'll see how things go with Jacksonville. But yeah,
and this draft was like in June, wasn't it?
was early June. Like, yeah, I was like, man, this is way early to be drafted.
We were bored. All right, we needed something to do.
Something to do. Yeah, don't judge us.
I did this, and then college football came out, and I was good. So
right.
You know?
So yes, that is the rounds, I believe, 1 through 17. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Quick math, yeah, looks good.
13, yeah. 1 through 13, and then here's the rest. The back half. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. It took a long time. We were clamoring in the chat like every other day, like, dude, pick. Would you pick already?
Yeah.
One guy was on his honeymoon. It was crazy.
He was like, F your honeymoon, dude. We're drafting. Pick. That was my favorite thing. I tried to preface like, hey, this is going to be a slow burn draft, 24-hour clock. And the minute someone got on it, there'd be like 3 pick.
You're on the clock.
Yeah, come on.
Let's go. Pick up the pace. Yeah, but we finally got through it though. So we'll see how things shake out, man. But again, critique our drafts. Let us know how we did. And give us your feedback in the comments as always. And tell us if we smoking or we smoking dope. Which one do we do?
Yeah, just let us know. Take a gander.
A little bit. So from our perspective, from our purview, obviously we have a bias because we're both in these leagues, right? But from objective purview, as fantasy football analysts, from a perspective of that in both leagues, let's give our opinion really quick on who we think is going to be a contender in these leagues. In 2025. So let's start with the Lightning Fast Fantasy League. We'll get into that first. Of course, we got our guy, young RG, Robert Garcia in the league with us, me and AG. We got Josh, we got Kurt, we got Five, we got Darius, Coach D-Bev, we got Keese, Cody, DZ, reigning champion, Coach Mike Dub.
Shout out DZ, last shout out he gets here. So
Right.
That's it. He's
cool
done.
Friend of the show. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So based upon their rosters, I guess we can kind of flip back a little bit on their draft. Who you think, from your perspective, might have a leg up on competition when it comes down to who's going to be winning the league this year? Because I got a couple of guys I'm liking their teams outside of mine.
Well, let me just say first and foremost, love what I did in this draft.
Yeah, you and me both.
Great. I salt made all over the board here.
I salt made.
It's cheap. And to see what we do, getting through the grind of the season. But my own squad aside, I got to tell you, Keese's team's pretty freaking loaded. Maybe a little questionable at like wide receiver 2, but he has Lamar, Saquon, Brock Bowers. I mean, that's a fantasy winning trio right there in and of itself. So, that was a pretty dirty haul right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually like the reigning champs team a little bit too. I like DZ's team. He got, assuming they can stay healthy, Devon Achane and Bucky Irvin. He got JSN and McLaurin, Hawkinson, Pollard. Then he got Baker Mayfield, who's been a fantasy stud. I mean, people, you can say what you want to do about his winning percentages, but his fantasy production has been pretty good the last couple of seasons since he's been in Tampa. So that's a pretty good squad as well. So I like that. I think who else did I like? I think I like Cody's draft. I think too. Yeah, because he got. Because if Bo Nix pans out, he's got Puka, he's got
Puka and Brian Thomas,
and Trey McBride, and Trayvon Henderson, and Bo Nix. So Bo Nix pans out for him, and Nick Chubb. So if they all pan out for him, he gonna have a good season as well. So yeah. So I think they're
Five didn't have a bad one either.
He
did all right, but he's right. He's like the 49ers, man. He's riding with the health of McCaffrey. If McCaffrey has a healthy 2025. That's a pretty banging lineup. But if not, he's shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Just say
Right.
that.
You got neighbors, you even got Jane Daniels. But what scared me is the Rashid Rice, the Queenstown Juggins, and the
And he
Jordan
has Addison. He doubled down on the suspensions right there.
Right.
He's the Raiders, dude.
Right,
Suspended. Come on over.
You're going over.
Come to
You
Team
trouble with the law,
5.
we'll take it. Trouble with the law, we'll take it. Come on. Yes, indeed. So yeah, man. Yeah, I like what a few guys are doing here, man. For sure. I think another team was maybe quarterback dependent. I think it was Coach DeBell's team because you're looking at Genty, Drake London, Chase Brown, Mike Evans, Swift, Pickens, Warren, J.K. Dobbins. Kyler Murray is the wild card. If Kyler Murray plays well, then he might have a good squad there. Yeah, I like his squad too. So yeah, of course our teams we're not going, toot our own horn too much.
Yeah,
hey. Yeah, it is what it is. But
I mean, I'm fully in the Durake Maye basket, dude. I mean,
yes,
I go as far as he takes me, and I got faith in D-Rock, dude. All right,
that's it. Yeah,
gotta believe. I went in this draft with a little piece of paper. It said Durake, no matter what, and I stuck to that.
I like that. I'm riding the Mahomes train in 2 leagues. So yeah, him and Mahar and Hampton. So yeah, I'm riding that train in 2 leagues.
Not gonna lie, I really thought I was gonna leave this draft with Mahomes because I figured everyone else was gonna be hating on him, so I could get him like later, and then boom, boom, bam, you sniped him. So changed my strategy a bit after that.
Right. Well, I was hoping Joe Burrow would come back around for the stack with him and Jamar. Yeah. But Coach Mike Dove took him, so I had to go with the backup plan. Yep. All right, good stuff. So we're not Dynasty League. Who's looking good in your eyes? Now again, this is different.
It's a tough one, dude. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Like it went 5, 6 quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 quarterbacks.
I mean, super flex. They gotta go valuable.
Yeah.
They're valuable there. But yeah, it's tough with this one because it's like it's big picture. So some people could pop off, like later on if all the rookies hit. Like in my other one, we did our first draft. I was like, screw it, I'm taking every rookie, and now I have Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamar Chase, and it's like, how do I lose? I don't. But yeah, man. I mean, it's just I gotta say, I thought it was pretty like even, overall. Like
it is.
Everyone has kind of like
everybody got some good on
their little niche,
that really,
I will say, bringing this back to two months ago, I'm getting this epiphany though of our man who's named his team, maybe ironically or not, the Goat Farmer. Just not taking a QB forever in a super flex league and just went 4 straight wide receivers to start it off.
How about going ham? Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, and that is the one outlier just looking at this board in front of us here. You just see that nice hue of blue right down the middle.
I like that.
What's going on?
Or you got Nightmare who took Caleb and Durake Maye in back-to-back picks on the swing.
Yeah, he said, boom. Nightmare. We never know what that guy's doing. Never know what he's doing.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was I will say I was a little, I love that I got Mahomes in a dynasty and I get to ride with him for the rest of his career. Pause if needed on that.
Right, good catch.
Had to catch. Hey, you ain't catching any strays out here.
That's
it. But and then subsequently named my squad the Texas Hammers. It's only fitting. But I will say I felt a little bad making that pick there at 5 in a dynasty. I felt there was probably some others, but you feel it, you got to go with it.
Yeah, this is true. So yeah, I mean, I got Jay Herbo, so I mean, I'm riding that train as well. So yeah. him and Saquon back-to-back picks. So I'm feeling good. Yeah, I got a blend of talent right now and youth. I think I do. So yeah, I'm hoping that everything pans out for me as well.
Took your boy Amari on, so I got to be a little Hampton fan.
True.
Now.
Yes, you do.
Only twice a year can he suck.
Right. And I'm hoping for not even those days.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, we'll see how things shake out, man. Like I said, we'll break down these teams each and every week. We'll break down the matchup and see how everything flows. Like I said, here's the matchups week 1. I got to play RG. You got to play Josh. You know, so we got to, ironically, Kurt and Five got to play each other. So it's some good matchups here. It's a good matchups here. Cool Kev got Coach Mike Dub. Cody got DZ. Coach D-Bev got Keys. And yeah, so that's some good matchup there for sure.
Yeah.
In our Dynasty League, I got S. Boyle. You got Neighbors thinking I'm oh Lord. Man,
that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
that's the honeymoon guy, dude.
It is. He's from New York.
He is a Giants fan, yeah.
Right.
So I was like, damn, this guy took Neighbors, and he was like, well, he's a Giants fan. Like,
right. Now it makes sense.
Full circle.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a few questionable names out here, but hey.
Unlike Hernandez, Big Penny. Yeah, it's rough.
JT's Rub and Tug might be my personal fave, but hey.
We didn't vet these names at all before we got started.
Yeah. Hey,
that's all I can say.
The Clyde Dynasty. We got
Crazy. I didn't even change my team name yet, so yeah, I might not. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, you never know.
Might change the mid-season or something.
You got to feel out the vibe, you know. You got to find your captain.
A little bit. Who's going to be captain of the ship? You're right. You're right about that. You're right. All right, so let's get into actual fantasy advice for the podcast. So let's talk about week one. We do a segment, each and every season called the Advice Corner. We talk about different topics. Give our expert advice on what we think is going to be needed to get you over the hump this week or in general for the league and for your fantasy season. So this particular week, we're not in the actual meat of fantasy football yet. We're actually in week one going into it. So we're starting off, right before we get things going. So we're gonna talk about some last minute advice. What can you do, or what can you tweak, what can you change, or what can you manipulate in the sense to get your roster to where it needs to be for the season and get going on week one. So I'm throwing it over to Real AG first and foremost, get his perspective on what do you think is going to be some candid advice to get to our listeners to ultimately get them ready for week one.
I think the best advice for this at this juncture we're in here of the approaching the season without having really any baseline reading to base any decisions or anything like that off of. So the best advice is, the advice that I constantly have to tell myself as I'm looking at the available players. And that's, week one, trust your draft strategy.
That's it.
You don't need to be tinkering with your lineup. Like, I pretty much just however it sets my lineup, unless someone gets hurt from the draft, I'm like, that's what we're rolling with week one. We're going to find out what these boys are about,
Right.
So trust your draft strategy. You don't need to go find what you think is going to be some hot pickup, and dump someone that you drafted, unless it's some extra defense or some stuff like that. But really, the only thing you should be tweaking in your lineup week one is the defense, and that's if you're a streamer. If you like the defense you drafted, stick with them.
Right.
I mean, other than that, you don't need to recreate the wheel in week one. Like I kept having to. I was about to drop. I don't even remember who now, but I was going to drop someone for Eckler, and I'm like, nah, stop. Mm-hmm. This guy's going to be hurt, arguably, after week one. What am I doing? So. That's like what I said. I got to tell myself that you don't need to tweak anything week one. Like we drafted, we prepped for our draft. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, I share that same sentiment. Trust your draft. It's only week one. That is definitely my sentiment I share, because again, you drafted these guys for a reason. You have to give them a chance, so don't sell a farm or don't, try to reach for the shiny brass ring too early. Right. Yeah. I understand some people will make, because I looked at it too. Five made a couple of changes in our league, and I said that he didn't drop the running back. I was like, ooh. Then I looked at my Ross. I was like, I can't drop anybody for him yet.
I know.
I can't do it.
I had that league in mind talking about Eckler might have been a little smoke and mirrors for anyone watching, but I'm just
right.
But yeah, it's crazy. Another thing I'll say is, if you have those Rashee Rice or Addison, I guess those would be the only two at this time. But some leagues do the IR spot. You can put suspended players in there, and so figure out if you can do that. Because if you can, then I mean, then you can make a move. Then you get excited about the waiver wire a bit, but.
Yeah, because in the Rice case, you're gonna have to work for 6 games for him to show up. So yeah, he can stash a guy for 6 weeks, and if he pans out, he done. Hey, it's a free spot. So yeah, I definitely like that strategy as well. And I
and
also
if it's
say
someone that bangs
hey,
out, you can trade them.
I was gonna say trade bait. I just gonna say that's trade bait right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll also say don't tinker. People have a
Yes.
tendency to, sit on the can, sit on the couch, play stinker tinker with your lineup. You don't want to do that. So trust your guys, trust the elite guys, trust the point system, trust the idea that they can, show up and show out week one. Give them a small sample size. I would argue that you want to give them at least a 2 to 3 week sample size of playing if you drafted them high. If you drafted in the first 8 rounds, give them a chance.
Yeah.
Give him a chance before you decide to dismiss it. And I mean, unless it's a guy that just smoking hot, like Emeka Ibuka, for instance. I drafted him in one of my leagues. Now, he's on the bench right now, but I guarantee you, if he comes out smoking hot, he's going in the flex. Because I know with potential he can, especially with Chris Godwin being injured. So I might give him 1 week of hiatus, but I was bring him in next week. But outside of somebody that's really smoking hot and they're hot on the draft charts, depth charts, they're hot on the depth charts, I would say that, I would give my guys a chance. Give your quarterback a chance, your running backs, your tight ends, your wide receivers, give them all a chance, even your defense. And also pay attention to strength of schedule. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Sometimes people have really difficult schedules and they just nothing's going to pan out differently. It's always going to be tough, and some guys have easier roads, so you might want to go that route. So we'll see how things roll. But yeah. So I would say just trust your draft, don't tinker, and ride the wave. For a couple of weeks, see how it goes. Again, it's still early. Nobody's been out eliminated in the first 2 weeks unless your whole team is injured.
Then RIP, but hey.
There you go. I actually had it happen with a guy in the league I used to be in. His whole team got hurt by week 4.
Yeah, I just give up, dude. I'd be like, I'm out.
And he was the commissioner. That's the bad.
Double whammy.
Exactly. Exactly. We were shaking our head like, man, you got to deal with people. You got to.
I'd be like, bro, you can have number 1 on the waiver wire for the next, 5
he
weeks.
kind of did because the team was losing.
I guess that's fair. It does, yeah.
It worked out.
Fair enough, yeah. But
he was trying to make trades with injured players. And we're like, dude, we don't want him. He's not playing.
He's not coming back.
He tried to get the Cowboy fans. So he tried to trade us Dak. I'm like, Dak's not coming back. I'm like, what the hell? Like, no, come on, bro. Like, just cut it out. Cut it out. He did fleece one person.
Damn.
He did fleece one person. And he's the interesting dynamic is they're friends, but one's a Commander fan and one's a Cowboy fan. So you should never do business, right?
Right.
And somehow or another, they popped off a trade. He still didn't make the playoffs, but it was funny. It was funny nonetheless. Nonetheless. Yeah, man. That's how you do. So yeah. So that is our advice, man. Of course, as we go through it, as people are watching, man, drop your comments, your questions in the chat. We'll answer them accordingly as we go out through the show. But moving on to depth chart analysis, we're going to talk about our dissecting their production. So some guys are projected as sleepers. Some guys are projected to be breakout players and things of that nature. But you may be a little scared about their position because they aren't where you want them to be on a depth chart. Prime example. We talked about in pre-production, we talked about Bill, was it Korsky Merritt? That's how you say his name?
Krowski
Merritt. And we all said that, he was the reason why Brian Robinson was traded. So we just knew he was going to accelerate to RB1. But on the depth chart, he's 4.
Yeah.
So, and again, guys that drafted him thinking that he's going to be, a late round steal, where does that land? Now, for my money, just to talk about him, just to jump it off here, I would argue that just give it a couple of weeks. Because I promise you that, when the other guys don't necessarily pan out and the touches he does get, he turns them into gold, that's when they're going to start to pivot. Because you see the small sample size in the preseason. If you watch preseason football for the Commanders, they played the Bengals on a Monday night and he smoked. So it seems as if he's going to be the heir apparent going forward. So, and they drafted him. This is the first time they had an opportunity to draft anybody. So they drafted him. So I think they had trust in the idea that he's going to play. But again, I wouldn't necessarily throw him out there week 1, but I will hold on to him. If you got him, stash him, keep him. He's going to pan out in the later weeks. So just hold tight.
Yeah. And I would add to that too, Eckler is RB1, but he's always been RB1, and Brian Robinson Jr. has always been fantasy relevant.
Right.
And I hate to say this about a player, but with Eckler, it's when, not if. If he gets hurt and misses some time. I know you know.
Yeah, don't I know? We
know. Everyone knows. So it's, yes, I echo your sentiments, and maybe this is because I got to say it myself, because I did take him in our Lightning Fast League, and I thought
Yeah.
that was a baller pick. And then,
Right.
and then I looked like a little egg on my face, when that depth chart came out. But
Right.
yeah, I think he's gonna eventually, get some significant carries, if not in week one. But yeah, you can't trust him to produce,
Right.
starting lineup caliber right out of the gate.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I want to flip the script a little bit and talk about somebody that might be a little bit of fool's gold if things start to turn for their particular team. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now they have listed Travis Hunter as being the other receiver opposite of Brian Thomas Jr. in the starting lineup on offense, and they listed him as a backup corner on the defense because he's supposed to be a two-way player, right? And
Yeah.
we talked about in our dynasty league how he got drafted him high in the second round, in June, right?
Right here, dude. He's praising. He's
Right.
he's still here.
That's it. That's it. So for my
Yeah.
money, because I've been arguing at this point all summer, is the fact that I think that it's going to end up being that he's going to be needed much more on defense when it boils down to it. When they have issues with stopping people in the pass game and they need him to play corner more so than they need him to play wide receiver, I think that's when the shift is going to happen as well. You might see some reduction early, but it might fizzle late. So I would definitely be leery of that. If you're a Travis Hunter owner, I would say that hedge your bet and have a backup plan, because if he starts to play corner more so in the later games, maybe week 4 or 5 or 6, he might stick in that role and he might not be on offense as much. He might have a few packages here and there, quote unquote, maybe a series or 2, maybe 20 plays. But how productive are you going to be having 20 plays versus 40? That's the conversation you got to have. So I would say anybody that owns Travis Hunter in this particular 2025 fantasy season, be leery, because I think he's way better as a corner than he is a wide receiver. So, and I think they're going to figure that out sooner or later, even him. I think he needs to figure it out, and so do the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need him more so on that side of the ball. So I would argue that Travis Hunter could be a candidate that might be, smoking hot early and fizzle out late if you're trying to ride the wave with him the whole season.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I agree with what you're saying in terms of I think he's a better corner than receiver. But I'm just looking at their looking at their depth chart, man. I mean, they only have 5 wide receivers on their depth chart, and outside of Brian Thomas Jr., the other 3 are De'Ami Brown, which is a flame out, Tim Patrick, which he was decent at one time, but he's often injured, and then Parker Washington. So it's like, I don't know. In the Liam Cohen offense that's used to having 2 highly productive receivers, I mean, there's a decent chance he's regardless of his skill set, he's going to be more needed. I mean, I think it pretty much depends on what they can get out of Etienne and Bigsby. If they can have a solid running game and kind of reminisce the Rachaad White, Bucky Irving combo and be effective through that, they probably wouldn't need him as much. But if it's like Etienne from last year and Tank Bigsby from last year, and there's not much improvement, I mean, he might be entrenched wide receiver too, because they got nothing else.
That's the thing that worries me though, because if you're going to need him sorely on both sides of the ball, which they may end up finding out, you're going to wear him down.
Oh, yeah.
How productive he's going to be, with us being a shell of himself. That's the conversation you got to have as well. Because I'm like, there's no way that he can play full time both.
Yeah,
I just don't think that there's a possibility of that. So I think that's where they're gonna have to make a decision. They're gonna have to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, we need you on this side of the ball, that side of the ball, and that's just it. And again, if he's productive if he's getting interceptions and covering well on the defensive side, and he's just okay at wide receiver, then what?
Yeah.
So I would just say that it's a possibility that he just might be a unicorn. But the odds say that he will maybe flourish on one side and not the other. I would be leery about that if you're a fantasy owner, because you need his offensive production. That's it. You can't gain anything from him playing defense unless you do IDPs. So, I think that's where we should, be worried about it a little bit if you're a Travis Hunter owner. So, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
Okay. So, do you got anybody else on your list that you want to talk about from a depth chart perspective that you think that may or may not be, maybe a sleeper that could rise to the ranks? Or
I'll tell you one guy I'm pretty big on, and he's not, I wouldn't say necessarily buried in the depth chart, but I think he's going to rise into a prominent role pretty quick, and that's Jalen Noel or Noel. with the
Yes,
Texans.
I like that.
I mean, I think Higgins and I guess he says Noel probably. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? I didn't.
We're,
But
we're,
yeah, hey,
we're not English majors. We're not
yeah,
English
hey,
majors.
you know, hey, whatever. I just read it off the card here.
There you go.
But I think he's gonna. I think him and Higgins both are gonna end up in a decently prominent role in the offense.
Mhm.
I mean, I think kind of to the same sentiment of Eckler. I think with Christian Kirk, it's going to be when, not if. He's unavailable, and then I mean he's boom already wide receiver 3. And the reason I really like Noel, now I'm
Right.
gonna mess up myself, but he's got that same speed slot ability that Tank Dell had, and they don't have Tank Dell this year. This offense was the most effective when Stroud had a Tank Dell type receiver.
Good point.
Higgins is Nico Collins B basically. So I think Noel brings a unique skill set that's going to be needed in the offense, a la prominent role.
Right. Good
Bing,
point.
boom, bam.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I was questioning about whether or not they're gonna get Tank Dell about. I think they did. Did they rule him out for the year?
They did. I'm pretty positive. Let me
Okay.
confirm that.
Okay, because that was the only thing I was leery about in that particular case. I do think he's gonna be a stud. Them getting both of those wide receivers from the same team is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And I'm high on Jaden Higgins as well. I think he's gonna take a lot of pressure off of Nico Collins and in that space, and he's gonna be another.
Tank Dell is expected to miss entire 2025.
There you go. There you go. Breaking news. Breaking news. So yeah. Okay. So yeah. So definitely look out for Jalen Noel because when they got Christian Kirk too, you also got to factor that in. They got Christian Kirk too, so they got 4 good wide receivers. I think those weapons in Houston are very highly underrated
and potentially no running game. So
well, no, they got Nick Chubb now. Don't count.
Yeah, but hey, we're gonna find out here week 1 if Chubby's got any left in the tank or not.
Right. Well, listen, I got him in my league, so
I took him in one too. I'm all for it, and he may still be able to squat 800 pounds or whatever, but we'll see.
Just drag a few people in the end zone, and we're good. That's all we need. That's all we need. Okay. Okay. All right. So you got anything else to add before we move on to this next segment?
No, I don't. Unless you got anyone burning in your mind.
No, I think I'm good on that. But if you got any questions about any person that's on the depth chart, please drop it in the chat. Like I said, we're on YouTube, youtube.com/lightningfastff on all platforms. So drop us a line, hit that subscribe button as always, and we'll get your questions answered in short order. But yeah, so I think that's some of the most hot button topics. I think the guys that you're not sure where they land as far as how they're going to produce week 1 or first 3-4 weeks of the season. So I think that's pretty much covers it in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so moving down the line, real quick, I'll bring this up on the schedule a little big so you can see it. Here's the strength of schedule. This is a little bit of a point of reference for people out there that may not know what the strength of schedule is, and this is from easiest to hardest schedule in the league. Now, ironically enough, the Giants pick high in the draft, but they got the hardest schedule.
We just hating on them, dude.
Right. So the Cleveland Browns and the Giants both have the hardest schedule. Then followed by the Detroit Lions and the Eagles, who are the Super Bowl champs, the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Bears, Texans, Steelers, so on and so forth. Packers are 23rd. The 49ers, ironically, have the easiest schedule, along with the Patriots, which makes sense because they were a 4th-place team. The Saints, who is probably tanking already right here currently.
Saints we can go ahead and pencil in for number 1 easiest schedule in 2026.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Yes, indeed. Ironically enough, the Falcons had the 4th easiest schedule, then the Bills had the 5th easiest. They were a Super Bowl contender last year.
Dude.
Yeah. Hey, man. That's why I said they might be Super Bowl favorites, man, because they got an easy schedule. I think Cap brought up the idea that they don't come off the East Coast for most of their games. They don't change time zones at all. Some people are traveling all over the country, and they don't got to go nowhere.
Some are going to Brazil.
Right. Brazil. Yeah. Yes. So Panthers got 7, Titans got 8, Dolphins got 9, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got 10. Cardinals got 11. So yeah, it's a good one. So I bring this up to say that if you guys want to kind of get a leg up on where your team's schedule lands, or players that are on your teams where their schedule lands, how hard their schedule is going to be. Pay attention to this list, screenshot it. Pause the video, do whatever you got to do to hold on to this information and kind of tweak your lineups based upon how difficult their schedule are and how many games Vegas has them predicted to win. All that matters. All that matters into analytics. All that matters into production that they have. So And we're going to be honest here, we didn't have a lot of high hopes for the Giants, but if you got Malik Neighbors, Russell Wilson, Tyrone Tracy, Cam Scatterboo, Theo Johnson, they might have a rough go because they just got tough game after tough game after tough game. They only got like a small window where they play the Saints and the Raiders and a couple other teams.
Their
where
first 5 weeks are real rough.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. So just you kind of hedge your bet, in that sense. Hedge your bet in the sense where you might be looking at a perspective that their schedules might be tough and they might not have a lot of fantasy potential to produce heavy numbers. So, but if you got 49ers, although their waiver series of room is terrible, it's absolutely terrible. But yeah, if you got Chris McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, I think even Juwan Jennings, if he gets happy at some point with his contract, Chris Hall, So yeah, if you got any of those guys, you might be fantasy goal for you this year. So keep your eye on that. All right, so moving down the line here, we got the week 1 matchups. So we like to do this week in and week out to break down the potential, I guess you can say, fantasy gold matchups that are coming through for the week. So we'll pick out a few teams or games, that we feel like is going to be fantasy gold for the week. And if you have players on those teams, I think it might be a surefire bet to play them. So I'm gonna start off with the real AG. Tell me, what matchup or matchups that you have in mind that are air quote fantasy gold for week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most prominent one, and this would be the Arizona Cardinals offensive players going against the Saints, and I think that's going to be a reoccurring theme.
I was going to say I
week in and week out. Yeah, I mean, I mean, just at this point, with just how atrocious their offense is anticipated to be,
right?
How depleted their defense is. I mean, I just don't see the Saints, really putting up a whole lot of effort in games to keep them close. And, opposing offenses are just going to feast against them. So I think if you have Kyler Murray, if you got MHJ, if you got James Conner, hell, maybe even if you got Trey Benson, you're going to be in for a good week 1.
Don't forget the other Trey McBride too.
I forgot about him. That's my bad.
So Cardinals and Saints game definitely had my eye on for sure. Now I was shaking my head because I feel like there was a lot of defensive battles here. Like at least one team got a really good defense. A lot of good defensive battles here. It would the Steelers and the Jets. That's going to be a defensive battle. So I don't trust anybody in that game to have a pop off and have a great game. And for my opinion. But I do like the Carolina Panthers Jacksonville Jaguars matchup.
Yeah,
I do like that.
That was my 1B, man, for sure. I think that's just going to be a Big 12 offensive game to some degree. Their version of it. Let me say that. I don't think it's going to be 52-50.
Right.
But like a 28-24. That's pretty high scoring for both of those squads.
That's a fact.
But I think both of their offensive players, you could probably have good confidence in week 1.
Right. So I like Ted McMillan in this one. I like Chuba Hubbard. I like Bryce Young. I like all the running backs for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Brian Thomas for sure. Some people even saying for a streamer option to talking about Britton Strange, the tight end for the Jaguars could be a viable candidate as well. So that we looking at that from that perspective, then those are some guys that you can count on to be fantasy goal for you this week as well. That's for sure. I'm actually kind of wondering about the Falcons Tampa Bay game. That might be, and depending on what the O-line does for Atlanta.
Yeah,
that could go. They could put up big numbers because you're playing inside, you're playing in the dome in Atlanta.
I like some matchups in that game for sure.
I do
too. As we will get to later in the show, but that's definitely one. It's got potential. My only reservation is that it's a divisional game and those always seem to be close, but certain players do always seem to ball out in those games too. So
agreed.
But yeah, I mean, they're just looking down at it again. You're like, damn, there are just so many either bad offense or like unknown offenses going against each other, or like just these defensive bouts. Like, it's just damn. I mean, I think the only other one I'd say that I think is just going to be like just huge one-sided offensive game. I think that's Philly against Dallas. That's because I think there's just been too much distraction and other shit going on with Dallas.
Yes.
And Philly's just going to come out and just go.
Hog walk them. Yeah, it could happen. It could happen.
Like what they did in the championship game, just go like just run all over them, like make this point, and
Right.
just dismantle them.
Yep. Okay. I like it. I think the other thing that really stuck out to me, I'm curious about. I don't know. I mean, it's still early. It's indoors, and we don't know what Daniel Jones is going to be. But the Miami Dolphins game,
Oh yeah,
could the Dolphins, at least for now, maybe put up some points. They're always good about putting up points early. They kind of fizzle out late, obviously, but that's an intriguing matchup for me as well. I'm also looking at what the Texans going to look like against that Rams defense. I'm curious about
right.
that as well.
And flip side, what's the Rams going to look like
It's that
against the
brutal Texas defense,
You
right?
know, I
Exactly.
mean that's one I was kind of both of them looking at like, oh, like I kind of, if Stafford's healthy, which they're saying he is now, I mean that could be a pretty potent fantasy game. But then I'm like, but he's playing the Texans, and then
Right. The defense
it's like the same side,
right.
Yeah, there's
Have a
like
bad
4 or
back.
5 of those.
It is. To have a bad back, I don't want to see Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter week 1. I don't want to see them too.
Right.
I know. That's just me. But I could be
Hey.
wrong. But yeah, that's something that I would stay away from. Now
And
I would go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I will just take the opportunity here to, I guess, double down on what you said in the past of Cam Ward's got to be the most unluckiest number 1 pick ever, least talked about, least covered, and then
Right.
draws the Denver Broncos defense week 1.
Right.
With a depleted running back room and Calvin Ridley,
Right.
the gambling man, the gambler.
Good luck and Godspeed.
Yeah,
That's all we can say.
send you off, buddy.
Exactly. So the last one I want to highlight too, because I think it's gonna be intriguing, is the New England Patriots going against the Raiders. Now, we can argue about what the offense is gonna look like for the Raiders, but the defense leaves a little bit to be desired. So can the Patriots get off the hot start and use them weapons, with Ramondre, Travion, Stephon, Kyle Williams, Hunter Henry, could Drake May have a breakout year? And what's this, year 2 for him? Year 2 for him?
2.
Yeah. So could he have a breakout year and just get off to a hot start with the Raiders? That could be a 1-2. So if you got Patriots on your lineup, I'm definitely playing Travion Henderson week 1.
The Josh McDaniels revenge game too, man.
Oh, yeah, that part.
Going up against the team that canned him, his old QB, probably telling him exactly how they could stop him, but he's going to have some stuff cooked up with his new gadget, Trevion, or that's just what I'm telling myself because I have him in a lot of leagues. But
yeah, I got him.
But no, I do think it's interesting, kind of like I said last night on the lockdown, the Hit Squad show. Like with Penix, this is the first full off season with Drake May, knowing he's QB1.
Right.
Them planning their offense about around what he can do. So like there's potential, if those two pop, like Patriots and Falcons defense could be pretty, fantasy gold-esque.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm hoping that, like you said, because I got Travion Henderson in one of my leagues. So yeah, I'm looking for it. Looking for that to be it. That's why I drafted him, because I kind of had that gut feeling that it could happen. And he's been electric in the preseason, so I hope it carries over to the regular season. That's for sure. All right, so yeah, so that was our fantasy gold matchups for the week, and that always folds over until our next segment we call the perfect lineup. So we get week to week we give our suggestions on what the perfect lineup we feel like will be fantasy gold for you. And if you start these people, and it's almost kind of have a best ball feel in certain cases if you play best ball as well. This is our perfect lineup from top to bottom. So we're gonna give you our prediction of who's the perfect lineup and who's the perfect candidate to put in your lineup this week. So this is our week 1 predictions. So starting off with me, I got Jalen Hurts against the Cowboys. We just talking about that. I think they're going to push and run and pass and do whatever the hell they want to do to the Cowboys on Thursday night. They even, acting like they don't even care about the idea that they're going to raise the banner on Thursday. They not only going to come out of the locker room for it, according to Sirianni, so they're supposed to be locked in. And
he's too much sometimes, man.
I know he is.
Like,
he
come
really
on,
is,
bro.
Yeah, like let the
boys
boys
be such a douche about it. Like, did we win? I didn't know. Yeah, shut up.
We're not worried about the banner. We're worried about this
I
year.
digress. Sorry.
Yeah, but regardless of that, I think while all of the checks in Dallas, I think that Jalen Hurts will have a good game.
Absolutely.
I like Josh Jacobs against the Lions because they're one of their D tackles is hurt. He's not going to play, so I think that the interior D line might be a little shaky. So I think that Josh Jacobs should get going downhill in that division game. We talked about Travion Henderson against the Raiders. I said it, and I'm backing it up with my perfect lineup selection playing against the Raiders. I like that matchup as well. I like the fact that they have so many weapons that Nico Collins is going to pop off against the Rams. Because I mean, if you look at the Rams depth chart, probably their weakness is their secondary.
No
So I
doubt.
think that he's pretty
Yeah.
fantasy proof. I think he'll pop
Texans
off.
O-line can hold up.
Right.
Yeah, I think no doubt.
Right. And I have a typo here, but Devontae Smith against the Cowboys. I'm sorry, I meant to put Chiefs. Not Chiefs, but Cowboys. So the Devontae Smith will get the Cowboys as well. That's secondary. So that's a little bit of a stack you got going on there. And Trey McBride going against the Saints. We talk about that as well. That's a good matchup for. And I think Keenan Allen in the flex against the Chiefs because I think they have a matchup issue. You got one good corner over there in Trent McDuffie, but I think Christopher Fulton and those guys may have their hands full with Keenan Allen or Lad McConkey. So, with Lad being a younger statesman, I think that Keenan Allen might have some opportunities there in that game. And New England Patriots defense against the Raiders, they spent all that money on defense, and Vrabel's the lead defensive guy. I think they'll feast on the Raiders offense. So I think that's a good matchup. And I'm taking Will Lutz. Will Lutz for the Broncos against the Titans. I think in him kicking into that mile high air, he understands it, he knows it, and I think that he'll be the better kicker in that game, and he'll have a lot of opportunities to get some points in fantasy from our perspective. So that was my week one perfect lineup candidates. So let me know in the comments how you feel about these guys. So the real AG has his picks. So break it down for us.
Bam, yeah. So a little bit different vibe with mine, but I got Joe Burrow against the Browns just because they're going to have to score hella points to win their games. And
Right, exactly.
they spent, I don't know, $150 million or whatever across their QB and 2 receivers. So it rides with them. I think that's, primo matchups. I mean, really any matchup against the Bengals defense, you're going to love fantasy-wise, but I think the Bengals offense is going to be pretty good in terms of getting your return on investment in PPR leagues. So
Absolutely.
I like Joe Burrow. As you already have heard me a few times, just shiz on the Saints a bit.
Right.
I love James Conner against the Saints this week. I think that it's not going to be much of a game. Arizona's going to get to kind of get ahead early and then just, use the run game to drain the clock and get out of there. And that's going to be James Conner's forte. I also like Kenneth Walker against the 49ers this week. I think that, that Seattle's going to have to, rely. I mean, Sam Darnold needs a run game to be effective. He's a play action type QB, and they're going to need Kenneth Walker to have a successful season. And I think they start that early with a banged up and just unknown 49ers defense that lost a lot of key players.
Yeah.
A lot of key players in the run game too. So I like Kenneth Walker. As we kind of talked about with the Bucks Falcons lineup, I love Mike Evans this week. I think Mike Evans is going to be the hero of the game to win it. If the Bucks win it, it's going to be because of a Mike Evans touchdown at the end of it. But I think he's going to go off because you got to have, you already got it banged up. Well, not playing Godwin. So yeah, Ibuka potentially hot start too, but they're going to rely on the old stallion that's been doing it for a decade at this point to get him going,
Right.
I like Scary T against the Giants.
Yeah.
I think, they got him, they paid him, they got him in there. I think they're going to pick up where they left off. So, and they got Debo there to be, I think, a distraction. So I think I like Scary T against the Giants in their secondary. This may have been a little bit of a biased homer pick, but I had to put a Chiefs guy on here just because, week one. But week one, I love the vibes. But I went Travis Kelce against the Chargers because, one, traditionally, even if he is lost a step, if he is aged, he still is pretty damn effective against the Chargers. I mean, both of his pretty good games last year were against the Chargers. They're not going to have Rashee Rice. I think, that we're going to have a motivated Chiefs team that spent an offseason figuring out how to score more points. And I think Travis Kelce has a decent week one, vibing off of his engagement high. And then, maybe things settle back down, but I like him in this matchup week one with the Chargers. My flex, I wanted to put Tyreek Hill, but he's got an oblique injury on top of a calf injury and was limited today. So we switched to Jalen Waddle. But either way, I love the receivers matchup against this Colts defense. They already got a banged up running back room. So, Waddle, Hill, who cares? whoever is wide receiver 1, I think is going to have a stellar week 1. Continue with my James Conner theme. Love the Cardinals defense against the
Why not?
Saints.
Why not?
I have a feeling you and me might trade off weeks here, putting whoever's playing the
Thanks for the
Saints
board. Right.
as the perfect defense until they
right.
prove us otherwise.
Uh-huh.
And then kicker, I went. I'm gonna be honest. I liked Will Lutz too, just because it's potential. Just great matchup for them against Tennessee. But once I saw you had him, I had to pivot. So I went with Cam Little because I think we're going to see a decently improved Jacksonville offense, but one that can't score when they get in the red zone. And Cam Little, the preseason record breaker, is going to be the perfect kicker for week 1.
Got it. Okay. All right, there you have it. So we got our guys listed here. So if you have these guys in your lineup, please play them. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and happy with their production in week 1. It's always 50-50 hedge your bet, because week 1 is always a dice roll. But based upon analytics, the stats that they typically have and what their past production has been, we feel good about these guys playing week 1 and playing well. So yeah, and a lot of these guys are pretty much fantasy proof in my opinion. So yeah, they should have good days for all involved for sure. All right, man. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Like I said, short and sweet show this week. Like I said, it's week 1. We don't have a lot of data to happen, between now and then. But yeah, we'll have more to go off of and best performance and all that good jazz next week, and get into the meat and potatoes of what's going to happen throughout the NFL season. So as always, we like to do a Q&A at the end of the show that people that are watching live. And if you are watching live on Twitter or platforms that don't have a chat, please jump over to YouTube and please drop your questions in the chat. I think we might have a question through our voicemail service, but I'm gonna check that in a second. But anybody in the chat, if you have any questions that you want to get answers, some lineup questions, some things you're kind of iffy on, please drop them in the chat. As always, we're available to you on socials outside of our normal show times, and we'll drop that line to you in a minute. But yeah, get your questions out. If you give you a few minutes to drop those lines, I'm gonna go check this voicemail here. See what we got. Just a missed call. They didn't leave a message. Okay, there it is. They just called. They didn't leave no message. All right then. I guess you didn't want to talk. So yeah, okay. All righty. So speaking of that, we got a new addition to the show this year. So we have a hotline. So if you have questions in between shows and you want to call and leave a voicemail about your get your question answered, you want to play live on the air, drop us a line on the number on the screen here, 240-249-2220. I'll put that on the bottom of the chat, so if people aren't watching the actual live stream itself, you can get that through audio. But again, the number is 240-249-2220. Call us, drop us a line, let us know exactly what your fantasy question is. And if you want us to remain anonymous, we can do that. If you want us to tell your name on air, we can do that as well. And we'll get your question answered live on the air. Or if you just want a private answer, we'll shoot you back. Just drop us your social media information, and we'll shoot your line back in every space as well. So check us out on the hotline, as well as all our social media platforms. We're Lightning Fast FF on all platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all there for you. So any platform that you use social media wise, we can get you you get connected with us there, and we can get you going with your fantasy football questions for sure. All right. So those are our social media networks tags. So like I said, we're Lightning Fast FF on all places, all platforms, even Gmail. If you want to drop us an email because you want some detailed questions that you want to ask and don't fit in your message DM, so we can do that as well. So drop us a line, let us know how you feel about it. But any parting advice you got, the Real AG, to let the listeners know that we're going to be here and ready to roll for you for the entire NFL season?
Man, not much. I mean, I'll just reiterate, trust your strategy, and let's see what your team's got in week 1. But hope everyone enjoys the start of the season. Oh, Jacob, how could you?
Right. So for those that are listening to audio, the question is this the year we finally see something from Kyle Pitts? I told myself I would stay away, then I ended up drafting him in 4 leagues. LOL.
LOL.
Right.
Hey, I think you could. Let me just say it this way: as someone who very, very specifically stayed away from Kyle Pitts this year, like to the point of I was like, I'll take tight ends later, just so I
Right.
don't have to take Pitts right now.
There you go.
If there is the year, if we don't see it, I mean, this is it for him. So
It is.
it's either, I mean, if you're getting it out of Kyle Pitts, positive needed again there, 2
Right.
pauses in one show, damn. But it'll be this year. So I guess you could double down and see what you got. Might as well. It looks like you did that in 4 leagues.
I feel like that I have to load up the gift I've been passing around to Kyle Pitts owners. It's the Michael Scott meme from The Office. It says, "Yes, I'm ready to get hurt again."
Yeah, I am ready to get hurt again.
I am ready to get hurt again. Because that's what I feel about Kyle Pitts. Anybody that drafted Kyle Pitts, you like pain at this point. I drafted Kyle Pitts in year 3. He totally pooped the bed, and I refuse to do it again. I'm not a person that's glutton for punishment, so I prefer not to deal in Kyle Pitts' drama, in my personal opinion. But to each his own, Jacob. If you got him in 4 leagues, you got to deal him. But let's
he likes to live dangerously.
He does. Let's use this as a strategy or a trade bait if he pops off a couple of weeks. Maybe you can get some, maybe you can convince
week
somebody.
1 sell.
Right. If he has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, put him on a trade block, because I don't think he's going to sustain itself for 18 weeks or 17 games, I should say.
It's crazy too, because didn't he have 1,000 yards in his rookie year?
He did.
So no touchdown, but 1 touchdown or something.
1 touchdown, 1 touchdown. That's it.
And then he just, that's crazy, man.
It is. I mean, granted, to a degree, his quarterback play wasn't that great either, but the hype he had, the athleticism. I mean, people with that type of prowess typically are fantasy,
juggernauts, dude.
Yeah, they're just fantasy juggernauts, and they're quarterback. They're not quarterback dependent.
Yeah,
they pretty much are Teflon when it comes to the idea of them, being a fantasy player for you that will be productive, right? But not in Kyle Pitts' case, unfortunately. So
yeah, the only league I got him in is at one dynasty league, and that's because my dumbass traded a draft pick for him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When Kirk Cousins came to town, I was like, yes, this is it. Yep.
Bad man is back.
He's back. Yeah. Nope. I was dead wrong.
Yeah, unfortunate. So, yes, I don't have faith in Kyle Pitts, so I would hedge my bet, and I hope he's not tight in 1 for you. That's all I'm going to say. Hope he's not tight in 1.
Yeah.
So we'll pray for your team if he is. That's all we can say.
For you there.
Thoughts and prayers. That's for sure. But yes, any more questions, please drop them in the line before we get out of here, man. As always, like I said, drop us a line on social media, email, call us on our hotline. We'll get back to you in a short order. We'll get your questions answered. If you have hot button questions, that you want to, get out between shows, as we're here each and every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. We have our own YouTube now, Lightning Fast FF on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So, hit us up, follow us on those socials, hit that subscribe button on the channel, get us popping and buzzing on YouTube so we can get this channel growing and build in higher heights and deeper depths, man. And like I said, we just getting started, man. Week 1 is here, and we'll be right here for you each and every Wednesday to give you our best and brightest fantasy advice. And check out our content all throughout the week. We're not just doing shows on Wednesday. We're dropping content Monday through Friday. So check out our shorts and our videos throughout the week on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and our live show on Wednesday. So boom, there it is. We laid it all out for you, and we'll hope we'll be the catalyst to propel you to that fantasy goal and get you that cheddar cheese, as the real AG loves to say.
That cheddar cheese. Go get that money I keep talking about.
That's right. Get it. Now, mind you, if you're afraid to tell you at the beginning of the show, we're not guaranteeing anything, but if you do,
we
want our cut.
We're taking the Jerry Jones approach. If it works out, it was all us, and give us what we're worth.
Right.
If it doesn't, it was your fault. You did it wrong.
Yes, indeed. All right, man. So that's going to do it for us this week. Like I said, we'll be back next week for the live show, and we'll look out for our content each and every day on YouTube, Monday through Friday. And, we'll get you right for fantasy one way or the other. We'll be dropping injury news. We'll be dropping sleepers. We'll be dropping best lineups. I mean, you name it, stashes. We're going to go over it all. So we're going to be here We're dropping big content for you all season long, man. So listen, if you ain't paying attention to this up and coming show, man, you're missing out. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. So any parting words, Real AG, before we get out of here?
No, man, let's just say week one's here. Let's have a good time, watch some good football, and see what our teams are about, man.
All right, there it is. There it is. All right, man. So on the behalf of the Real AG, the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast Network, and sponsored by the Lockdown Defense Sports Network, we'll be back next week. So until then, you got to do one thing and one thing well. You got to step up to lock it down.